Hello, my name is Bastian Fradell. I'm one of the two managing partners from Straight One, and today I would like to tell you something about the impact of pop-up communities. So what is in for you as a researcher, a marketer, product owner, sales responsible, whatever, in this qualitative approach? And maybe to start with, I should shortly explain what a pop-up community is, at least in the way as we understand it and apply it. And this is basically a group of people, 30 to 90 in most times, that meet for around 1 week, sometimes 2 weeks. So it's really popped up, it's not always there, to talk about a certain topic or to work on a certain topic. And the core of it is certainly the bulletin board, the forum discussion. And there we foster a natural discussion, a bit like in a forum or bulletin board, like it would be set up by some kind of interest group. Yeah. But the advantage of this is that we are in a secure environment. So we can also discuss some innovations and topics like on that. And we are way more flexible. Yeah, so we can ask people to write diaries, to make photos, make videos of their environment and how we handle things and so on. We have little questionnaires. We can do idea challenging with certain groups competing with each other. So it's a bit like a researcher's dream because you have all kinds of tools that you can apply, very agile, very fast, and you can change a lot, or even while discussing while it's running. So finally, from a research point of view, one benefit is that we have a very broad view in it. It's also quite extended, especially if you compare it, for example, with group discussions. In a group discussion, 2 hours, 8 people, means 50 minutes per person, and only in case the moderator doesn't ask any questions. So that's really not much, 50 minutes. And here we have 1 week, and certainly people take different time to discuss, but we have more time to express themselves, their ideas and feelings than just 50 minutes. And we have more people involved. Because recruiting is also a bit more economic than with classic approaches. So that's from the research point of view. But the question is, what can you use such a community for? And what were the experiences our customers might with it? And I want to start with one purpose, and that is use it for customer journey exploration or mapping. And here, for example, we had one customer that had a certain product category, which were basically tables and chairs, that did not sell so well as we wanted it to be. And we did not know quite well where it goes wrong. We had a pretty good brand, we did not see where the problem is. And what we did here we used this community to go through the whole decision process. So from the initial idea, I could need maybe a new chair or a new table, to actually buying and the post-buy services. And by really discussing step by step, exploring step by step the whole journey, we could, on the one hand, develop a very nice journey map with all the needs and typical behaviors people have in a certain stage, but also we could find finally this gap where the things go wrong. And then we did some workshops with our customer to find solutions how to make a change, which finally resulted in 20% growth in the first year and an additional 10% in the next year. And another example is what we did for a bank. There we used it to optimize processes. For example, we had a process where people, when we have a mortgage, need to send in their bills, we need to get paid and so on. And this process did not always work very well. Yeah, and we already worked around quite a lot on it, so it was not a new process, so it was a mature process, but still we were looking on how to improve this. And again here we just looked for the relevant target group, and then we went through again this whole process step by step. So giving the people also a lot of time to remind their experiences. Because in a normal situation, even in an in-depth interview, you do not have that much time. It's just this 1 hour or so that you have to really come up with all your memories and experiences. And here you can also reflect overnight, because it's 5 or 7 days. And also, the experiences of other people stimulate you to remind you. By the way, that's important to say, which is one great thing, in contrast also a bit to group discussing, that we can quite clearly define which tasks people do on their own and which ones we do together with others. And that's also very helpful. Okay, but in this case we were able to find out, for example, that in the beginning of the process the bank sent some signals that make the people go the wrong way. Yeah. And we found out a certain decision pattern in this process that people used. So for example, when the bank started communicating via email, we would also communicate via email again. If the bank started with telephone, we would also tend to do more telephone communication. So it was very easy, or that was, for example, one point, also to make a change in order, for example, to have more digital part of the process. So again, here also we had some very clear insights, and the bank was able to change some things quite quickly, so that we could have a nice, smooth process afterwards. Quite a different approach is to use the pop-up communities to, you could on the one hand say build personas, or on the other hand deep dive within, for example, a segmentation. Because what we currently see all around with most of our customers, which is on the one hand a good thing, they start their projects with building personas. Which is a good thing because they at least start in their mind with the customer. But we use the information that's available for that, and often that's just their gut feeling. Even when there are studies around. But it's quite some work, and it's for marketing people or product owners, it's not that easy to really take this research outcome and turn that into some kind of persona. And with these communities, as we have so much freedom and space to interact with those people and can give them also space or animate to use this space. What we, for example, did also in the finance context in this way, we had a customer who already had a segmentation approach, and what we did, we made different pop-up communities with each one segment population within, so to say. And then we discussed with them not only finance topics, but especially also how their way of living is around that. So what kind of hobbies, what their dreams are, what their type of holidays, how they live, what their profession is about, and what they are motivated around that, and all these kinds. So, and by this we got really valid insights on all those topics that normally people who are building personas just try to fill in by their gut feeling. And where we often see that, for example, then the hobbies that are picked are not really relating to the core needs of such a persona. So there's a lot of discrepancies that you just don't see. And in this way, we have an approach that on the one hand, not only these personas, become more realistic because we're data based. But people also, because this is an approach where you really can observe the whole discussion, the whole process, have really a chance to develop their intuition. So that next time when they use their gut feeling, it's a lot more likely that it already refers to how people really are. And I mean, that's basically one thing where we aim with this approach, but also with our behavioral economic approach, that we say, okay, we help our customers to see the human in their customer. Because, that's often a different view when you know what is their context, what are their drivers, what are their barriers, what are their needs. And that can be done really nicely with this approach. And that, in this case, helped the customer really a lot to also get more traction on their segmentation approach and to use it more widely, but also to improve their personas and make it more real, which then results also in more realistic product solutions. Another example is innovation. Here we had a customer which deals in the energy communication context, where we had developed quite some different concepts. And here we used the online pop-up community to understand if these products, these ideas, these concepts really reflect the needs of the people. And that's, by the way, something we recommend to all our customers, not to directly just go in some kind of concept screening, where you just have some KPIs to decide whether a concept is worthwhile working on it. But first, really understand the needs and link that with your idea. Because often a concept either wins because it just sounds good, but the idea is maybe not really good. And so we see concepts that just not, at least not yet, sound good, and then have bad KPIs and won't be proceeded anymore. So and with this approach, which does not cost that much more than a traditional concept test, you really get an understanding about the needs and how your idea refers to these needs. And we do that, for example, by take one day to discuss what people really need. So more or less discuss the inside, or build up the inside. And on the next day, we present, for example, a new concept or new product or whatever. And then we can, with those people, refer to their needs and see how there is a need match. And as we can do such a community for a couple of days or weeks, we have the chance to, for example, test 5, 6 or 7 of such ideas. And so it's really a nice instrument, and helped our customers a lot to really prioritize some ideas, and also, and that's important, to help avoid a confirmation bias. Because often it's the case, if you especially do quantitative testing too early, and you get at least average KPIs, so it matches the benchmark. You work on it further and further, you get in love with it, more and more ownership, and more confirmation bias. And then finally you find out, oh, sorry, shit, does not work. And again, here it's also learn early, not late, because when you learn late, it costs you a lot of money. And such an online pop-up community, it does not cost you a lot of money. It's not the cheapest, certainly, but you learn so much from it that it's worthwhile anyway. So I hope this couple of showcases and best practices helped you a bit better to understand what you can do with such an online pop-up community. And I hope to have a chat with you if you like, to understand what your needs are, and if, for example, such an approach would also help to foster your ideas or help to solve your challenges. Thank you very much.